that I have a health condition known as ME. Myalgic encephalomyelitis. I always butcher it. It's long. It's also known as chronic fatigue syndrome. So now my next question was, what am I going to do to make my life worthwhile?
There you go.
And that's when I met an amazing now friend of mine, Babs, CEO and founder of Freshrb. When you're trying to make sales and things are quiet, what do? You can't just give up because nothing is happening. Nope. Passion is going to see you through the hard times, the quiet times. It gives you the reason to keep on going. Passion becomes your fuel. I've come to learn a lot about myself. I've discovered a side of me that I never knew even existed.
Wow.
You know, when you find your life partner, who's your best friend, good Lord, does life become easier?
Hello guys, welcome to yet another episode of Let Inspiration Take Over podcast. Once again, we are here today purely off of the fact that inspiration has taken over. I have another one of the people that I consider to be a very special guest on the podcast today. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him since I was a kid, went to a similar college, grew up in a similar city, Sheffield, and that sort of thing. So I'm very excited to have my dear brother Kondwani here today to be able to share with us the work that he's currently doing, which I would personally say is God's work, and just his wonderful journey and his wonderful story that he's been through, which is what we do on this platform. Brother Kondwani, welcome to the Inspiration Takeover podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Isaac.
Yeah, you're most welcome, brother. Like, as I said, I'm very excited and I'm elated for Inspirations Takeover today as we navigate through this conversation today. And also, once again, it's the second episode that I've got my beautiful iPad. That will just make things easier in terms of navigating.
I mean, yeah, you got to use technology for its uses and maximize the impact for it, really.
I was saying, my phone is shocking because of the job that I do. The screen is absolutely ruined. So I was like, man, it's not really very professional, is it? I think
my previous phone, funnily enough, phone, I had it for 4 years, almost 5 years, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the screen, even the RAM, trying to open apps, it was a nightmare.
Right? Absolutely. I think it's a metaphor for life, though. Do you know, even though my screen's absolutely ruined, I love it because it's a reflection of the life that I've been going through and the grit and the hard work to say, like, sometimes even if life bits you up and you feel some type of way, you can still keep going because it's still going.
Absolutely.
That's not to say I'm not going to get it replaced, though.
Yeah.
So, Brother Kondwani, if you can just give us a brief introduction of yourself just before we jump into the meat of the conversation, and perhaps what you do, the work you do, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I'm Kondwani. Kondwani Chirwa. That's my full name. And I reside in the greatest city in the UK, Manchester.
It's the one. It's the new London. Apparently, a lot of people are moving to Manchester.
Yes, it's a unique place. Absolutely. Obviously, there's Greater Manchester, and not to forget the Premier. I love football. Yeah, it's not my team that won. Man United were struggling at the moment, but Man City won it. So at least they won it for the city. So I'll claim that. I'm a family man. First-time father, so that's an experience, life in itself. We're not going to dive into it. Yeah. But more than anything else, I'm also a social entrepreneur entrepreneur, but with a social desire in a sense. I'm a director at Freshrb, CIC.
Brilliant. Yeah.
As a social enterprise based in Manchester.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, Freshrb, I've seen the work that you guys are doing is absolutely phenomenal, right? Not just from the point of view of saying it tugs at people's hearts, but it's the creativity. You know me, bro. I love creativity. So I perused through your Instagram and your website and just saw some of the work and the videos that you're doing. I must say it's masterpieces, like cinematic art. You know what I mean? But later on, go on, brother. Yeah.
No, I'm humbled for you to say that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I can see it getting to his purpose. I was saying, we'll dive a little bit more into that actually in terms of the work that's being done and that sort of thing and the process behind it, because I'm very curious to hear about that. But as always, on this platform, my brother, I love the work, but more so I love the people behind the work. And I feel like very rarely do we get to hear people's stories and really what drives them to do the amazing work that they do. And I feel like once you get to the core of that, it gives you a better understanding of their work. It gives you a better understanding of why they do what they do. And for myself, I'm a curious person. So for anyone that does like amazing things, I will look at the amazing things, but I'll look back in their background and say, why does this person do what happened, right? In a way. Yeah. And then that sort of motivates me personally. So that's the kind of work that I found motivated me the most when I look at, backgrounds of people like Elon Musk, people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and, they started from humble backgrounds. I'm part of the Garage Club. As you can see, they also started in garages. Like Elon used to build cars in his mum's garage. Bill Gates as well was in a garage. Steve Jobs and his business partner started out in a garage. So like foundational stories are so beautiful. And for me, I'm discovering that I have a passion for them. I absolutely love them. But yes, brother, for yourself, perhaps if you can tell us a little bit about your background, upbringing, and that sort of thing, school, family a little bit. I always say perhaps in a way that it ties in with you as the man and that sort of thing. But yeah.
Oof, I mean, we can have all day to chat.
All right.
My life starts in Zambia.
There you go.
Zambia
so does mine, by the way.
Yeah, Zambia is obviously, that's my heritage.
Yes.
And then I moved to the UK in 2003.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. I don't know how many years that is now, but I'll let you guys do
the maths, right?
Yeah. Moved here, college. So I went straight into college because at the time I was just about to finish I was in the middle of my secondary school, high school pretty much. In Zambia, I was in grade 10.
Okay.
And then moved here and then started college. And settling in Sheffield was interesting.
Right.
Yeah, because Sheffield, that's a city where, my parents were living and working, so we moved because of that. And then, finding a footing in there, obviously that's how we met.
We did, yeah. When we were young.
Yeah, that was an interesting time in itself.
Yeah.
But fast forward, ending up to, again, University of Leeds, and then went to the University of Leeds, where I studied chemical engineering.
There you go. Brilliant.
I loved it. Right. And when we're in college, when we're choosing, careers and what to do next, my perspective was from the point of what is it that I find passion in?
Yes.
That was my end goal. And then then I worked my way back by what sort of, studies out there will allow me to achieve the goal.
Oh, wow.
Now, part of my passions, as many passions, one can have.
I'd love to hear about them.
Yes. Is being of positive society.
Yes.
That's a big one for me.
Brilliant.
I've also got passion for water.
Oh, wow.
Water in the sense of, at this time when I was studying chemical engineering, I knew that I wanted to use the skills that I'll gain from it to help, with access to potable water, i.e. drinking water.
Okay. And when you talk about this, is this where is this based? Here in the UK, or is it back home, or
just general?
In general.
Just in general. I'll tell you why.
Okay. Yeah.
One is in general, because even though we're here in the UK, the nature of water still needs purification.
Absolutely.
And we take it for granted, but there's so much utility for water from industries and your homes, but then we can only rely to a certain point. Okay. So either way, as humans, for us to survive, we still need to have drinking water.
Absolutely.
So the technology aspect, that fascinated me.
Okay.
And then thinking of the other point, which is, like in countries where it's difficult to access water, let's say, whether it's poorer countries or just different climate countries. It was just what I used to see was, this was in Zambia. I used to see was, there's a river, but people wouldn't just get water from the river.
No.
Different rivers, obviously, different sources of water, because it wasn't potable. Safe. It wasn't safe for them to drink.
Yeah.
So with that, I always thought, what form of user-friendly technology from a social perspective can you make? Can one make, or to make it possible? So things like that.
Yeah.
I was always, I've always had this, what can I do for the community and solve the problem. So yeah,
this isn't you had this mentality was in college.
Before that, but in college helped me shape what I'm gonna study next.
Yes,
you know what I mean,
brother. You are you're special because I'm thinking about my college days. I was like, yeah, my mind wasn't there. I was still figuring out. But carry on, brother. I don't.
Yeah, but that's it. I don't know if I've answered your question per se.
Yeah, no, you have.
Another unique thing as well that your audience can know today is the fact that I have a health condition, known as ME.
Right. Okay.
Myalgic encephalomyelitis. I always butcher it. It's long. It's also known as chronic fatigue syndrome.
Right.
So in short, it's ME/CFS. And the reason I'm sharing this is because today, as I speak, I've got a bit of a brain fog, and brain fog is one of the symptoms for it. So if I lose a trend of thought, I've got an amazing host here who's gonna
absolutely will bring you back, brother. Yeah.
So talking about my health in itself, that changed a lot for me when I was at university.
Right, okay.
Because whilst I was studying, in the middle of my studies, I was then diagnosed with ME.
Right.
So then it meant I couldn't finish my studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Carry on. Like, take us back to that process. I mean, the way I would phrase it is obviously you had, I'm assuming you had plans and everything was going on. What was that mind process being told, obviously being diagnosed with this issue, knowing that you now have to carry on, but at the first instance of being told about it, where was your mind at that point? If you could perhaps just kindly take us back to that.
I mean, this was around 20, so officially diagnosed around 2011, 2012. If I recall back, it was a bit of, not a bit, but yeah, I call it a bit because of the grand scheme of things. But, it was a shock, because I was confused. I was like, what kind of health condition is this?
Yeah.
Right. And it was all from the back of the fact that, I had this infection.
Okay.
But then the infection cleared, but then my body never recovered. And that's how it became ME. So when the doctors were like, right, you have a syndrome, an illness called ME, myalgic encephalomyelitis, ME/CFS. And there's no cure at the moment.
Right. Okay.
But, some people get better and some people don't. So, being faced with that kind of situation, I was a bit like, right, what then can I do to make sure my everyday is worthwhile?
Absolutely.
Right? Because I knew I had to stop my studies because I couldn't cope.
Right.
Which is just difficult. Okay. It just changes everything. Now, to give a bit of context, the nature of symptoms include fatigue, pain, both muscular and joint pain, and I did mention brain fog, and the big one as well is called PEM, which is post-exertional malaise. Right. Again, I do butcher that one. What that means is, so if I do something today, it's gonna manifest the impact in the next coming week. So in the next 2-3 days, that's when I'll feel it more. So then I have to find a way of planning my week and manage myself in a sense. So pacing becomes one of the coping mechanisms to help me manage myself.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but then recalling back at the time, I was in a bad shape because I was bedbound. Then I became housebound.
Oh, wow, brother.
Yeah. So going through all that pretty much, it was an interesting thought
journey. Yeah. Absolutely, brother, because I'll say, like, just in standard, university is challenging enough as it is in terms of navigating it and things like that work. So to add that on, I can only imagine what kind of impact that would have had on you. So, and thank you so much for educating us on where you were. And perhaps I think it's an education for people as well, because until you told me about it, I didn't know of that condition and that sort of thing. So hearing it and just seeing you as a person, everything that you're doing, my brother, like, that just makes me even more proud of you, bro. Like,
well, thank you.
I really am, and I say that from a genuine and from an honest space.
Life is a journey, isn't it? So then on the journey, you meet different things, from good to bad.
Absolutely. And it's how you decide to carry forward, isn't
exactly. So it's like, right, whatever you face, allow yourself to to face what you have to face.
Absolutely.
But then at some point you have to remind yourself to get up and to keep on moving, whilst learning everything else that you've experienced, and then using that to your advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I was going to say, I know you completed your studies, right?
I didn't complete the program, but yes, I did graduate with a degree, which was amazing again.
Right. Yeah. And then, so no, let's not gloss over that, my brother. Listen, I'm going to bring you back.
Go on.
Yeah. So, and I know everything that you've described, I can only imagine it because I've never experienced it. So even to say I can empathize, it wouldn't be an honest thing. I don't know. I'm learning, but I would like to hear it from yourself. What was that process? Or now that you learn you've got this condition and you still want to pursue and complete, what then happened after that? What was the process to you getting your degree? Perhaps if you can talk us a little bit through that.
So at the time when I was being diagnosed, I was towards the end of my third year.
Okay.
And that's the degree. That's the bachelor year. So I was in the master's program, which is a 4-year program.
Okay.
So I was in my third year.
Oh, right. Okay.
So then what had happened, funnily enough, now that you asked, was I had to stop my studies.
Okay.
So I didn't sit my exams that year.
Right.
So then they allowed me, because of the mitigating circumstances,
of course,
to come back again.
Okay.
Right. So then when I came back again, during that time, I was still going through, the diagnosis journey. Because it's a complex illness. It takes about a minimum of about 6 months at the time for them to get to certain conclusions, because you have to go through different tests for them to eliminate. So I saw different specialists that I never thought of, different hospital appointments during that time. So then I went back. Yeah. So then I obviously had to sit some of the exams that I missed out and courseworks and everything else. But then during all that time, I still wasn't great. Okay. So then eventually it was evident that I just cannot cope with my body. Everything else was just such a struggle.
Oh, wow.
So fortunately, because I had completed my third year and I had obviously enough credits to graduate already.
Okay.
As a bachelor's, but not master's.
Yes.
So when I went back, whilst I was still ill, but slightly better, but still struggling.
Yeah.
I was now in the master's program.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't even get halfway through that.
Right.
And do you know what's funny?
Yeah.
I found masters easier.
Really?
Yes.
This guy.
I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Explain.
It's because the way I process things, my brain.
Yeah.
I like complex things.
Okay.
So
that's where you and I differ. Go on.
Yeah. I'm a problem solver by nature, so I'm very addicted to problem solving each and every time.
Oh, that's great.
So I always like complex things, and then I simplify them. That's how my brain works.
Listen,
but if you ask my wife, for her, it's the other way around. She likes them simple, and then she builds them up. Oh, there you go. So,
I think you're an asset, bro. You know, when things are complicated now, Kondwani, I've learned I'm gonna come to you to be like, brother, listen, I have some complications. Please can you help me uncomplicate them? So that's brilliant. And so did you actually did you get to finish the masters or?
So no, I couldn't finish the masters.
You couldn't finish the
masters,
obviously, right? Okay.
So then, fortunately, because I already had enough points to get my bachelor's degree, I just graduated with my bachelor's degree. And you know what's funny? During the graduation day, which was obviously not my intake, but I eventually graduated. Yeah. I was actually the slowest person to walk on stage.
No way.
And because they were aware of my situation, I still went to stage. I need to find the video. But after that, pretty much my family, they were overwhelmed. My siblings, my sister, she was in tears.
Really?
So it was for me, being able to graduate was symbolic in that I was able to still come out with something despite the adversity I was going through.
Absolutely. That is so perfectly put.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm obsessed with problem solving. So now my next question was, what am I going to do to make my life worthwhile?
There you go.
And that's when I met an amazing now friend of mine, Babs, CEO and founder of Freshrb.
Bro, you're just literally going to the questions before I ask them. You're literally going to what I was going to ask you, but carry on. Yeah.
Should I carry on, or are you going to dive into that?
Absolutely, carry on, because I was going to ask you what was this, but you've just gone into it. Inspiration is taking over, but carry on, brother. Yeah.
Lit. So in 2014, through a very good friend of mine, Yinka, was sharing a flat with my now friend as well, Babs. and he introduced me to Babs.
Oh, so you met him through Yinka?
Through Yinka, yeah.
Right.
Yinka, shout out.
Yeah, great guy, Yinka. Yeah.
And so that's how I met Babs. So at the time, that was 2014.
Right.
So at the time, I was housebound.
Okay.
So I moved back from Leeds. And obviously, I was in a family home in Sheffield.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty much just trying to learn how to cope with the illness. So because of the overwhelming nature of the symptoms, I mean, it's a long list of symptoms, but the ones I highlighted earlier were the key ones that have impacted me because everybody's different. I discovered that one of the key things that helped me to cope was being creative.
Oh, wow.
So creative was a powerful tool for me.
Yeah.
Right. So then 2014 was just amazing. Pretty much things fell into place.
Right. Okay.
2014, met Babs, the visions aligned.
Yeah.
So why is this a big deal? Because we're still running a social enterprise called Freshrb.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There. And when he started it in 2013.
So he started it before you got there.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let me actually go back a little bit. So
yes.
Babs himself was diagnosed with cancer whilst he was at University of Liverpool.
Wow.
So during that time, he met the charity. There was a charity that helped him through chemotherapy, and he found that very impactful.
Right.
Fast forward, he went through into the working world. So obviously, he doesn't have the cancer right now. It's his remission.
Okay.
And then in 2013, it was like, right, with what he enjoys doing, because he loves film and video production.
So he already had a passion for the video. Oh, that's great. That's brilliant. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's important to have a passion for something. Because it's what will see you through.
It carries you through. Yeah, absolutely.
Times, quiet times. I mean, you know.
Steve Jobs is the one that said that. He said you need to be passionate because there'll be days where you don't feel like doing it.
Absolutely.
And your passion is what will carry you through.
Absolutely. So 2013, Freshrb was born.
Brilliant.
And then 2014, it became a CIC, which stands for Community Interest Company.
Right.
So it became a social enterprise.
Social enterprise, yeah.
Because in his heart, he thought, how can he give back to the community? So then when I met him in 2014, funnily enough, our visions aligned because
that's divine connection.
It just so happened that, we had similar stories. But then what we found powerful, which was, using media and just being creative to cope through, being ill and being unwell health-wise. That was very powerful. So, we are all about, raising awareness of life-limiting and long-term health conditions.
There you go.
Another word for it is marginalized health conditions. And we do this through, different mediums. So from whether it's video production, podcasts, as well as your podcast, digital design. So those are different things we do. But it's all about the process. Yeah. So, and that's what we're about as a digital media agency.
Yes.
So we are. So.
Brother, listen. If you guys haven't looked into Freshrb, I would say look into it now, because the story that you've just stated there is so powerful. And as you were speaking, all I could hear is God. That's divine connection. And I genuinely believe that there are certain things that we go through as people that God puts us through in order for him to use us, and so he can take the glory. Because the only way that connection of you and Babs could have happened is through divine connection. And for you to align the way you've aligned, there isn't any other way. And I genuinely believe it, because when I see you guys, I thought you knew him longer than that. Because you guys just connect so well as brothers.
Let me tell you why.
The way, go on, bro. Yeah.
I don't really know how I skip this, but you know what? That's what I'm saying. Like, we can spend the whole
day. You can always go back. Yeah.
So then obviously meeting him and then getting to know each other.
Yes.
I was actually living in the same flat with him and Jink as well. So basically I was couch surfing.
Okay.
So, so we lived together pretty much. And then obviously we now live, in our own homes and everything else. But the journey itself, being in each other's presence and just like sharing ideas and just like, and during those times where, because I was trying to find my footing in Manchester from Sheffield. So I used to commute now and then. But I used to pretty much live with him in his flat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Put out the couch,
Yes.
and that was my bed.
There you go. And is this whilst you were doing the work, or is
whilst we're doing the work? So from the get-go, so 2014, from the get-go.
Oh wow!
Literally, we
just started from the grassroots.
We just like, yeah, our visions aligned.
Oh
wow! How can we be of great impact to society? Bring positivity to community.
Absolutely.
Give create a platform to give a voice
back,
for people to share their stories, and that's why our podcasts have become very popular as well.
Absolutely, I heard it. I had a quick listen, and you guys are very, very creative.
And the short films as well, which are all intentionally about a health theme.
There you go.
All those things,
So you say Babs comes from a background of videography, and he used to do videography even before he started the business, right?
Yes.
And so what I want to ask you is, how did you fit in creatively, or how did you see your role? Obviously, you're coming to a guy that does it and he's really into it. I know visions, they align, and that's something that you want to do. How did you perhaps think about it, say how you could fit in, into the business going in and that sort of thing to add your talents?
Yeah, very good question.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to why I even chose the line of study I chose.
Yes.
So I'm all about problem solving, but then processes. I like processes.
Okay, yeah.
So it's always, you see a camera, or right now as we are sitting here, you're watching, when you're watching something, all you see is what's in front of you.
Yeah.
So the question is, what's happening behind the lens?
There you go.
Because that's where the story and the ideas are coming from.
Absolutely.
For you then to see that window in front of you.
Yes.
And that's where everything basically worked well for me.
Yeah.
It's about when you're in the kitchen, it's different to what you see in front of the restaurant.
Yes.
So, sometimes we all get excited. Oh, this is a lovely meal. I think I should start at a restaurant. No. Go in the kitchen.
Start from the kitchen.
Exactly. See what it's about, and then decide
as an intern
whether you can do the whole thing.
No, absolutely, brother. No, very, very, very well put. Because I wondered that. Because sometimes, you might have an idea that's great, but it doesn't always fit in well, especially if somebody has got something that they've started and they've got their own vision and it's a background where they come from. But the way you just presented and everything else, it fit like a glove, bro.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, right, it's all about support.
Yeah.
So, whenever there's support, just meaningful support, whenever there's support, things become a bit easier.
Yes,
easier.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that helps, that goes a long way. Because if you ask us, what we thought of Freshrb back then and now, it's a bit different, but still there's that fabric that still runs through, which is the same.
Okay.
So, you go through an evolution. So I remember when in 2017, we launched SEP, which is the Silent Elephant Project. That was a big thing for us because we now designed workshops that were intentional exactly, people to understand the process and the therapeutic aspect of it. So like we always say, we're a therapeutic hotspot. Brilliant. And we always aim to be that. Absolutely. So it's not just about, so you go through the workshops, you learn about the skills, the media skills and everything else. But then at the end of it all, full well that it was the process that was worth it.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Now that's brilliant, brother. Yeah. I mean, as with any business, as you know, I've done a couple of businesses myself.
Yes,
even this entity in itself is like it's a brand, but really to the core of it, it's a business, to be honest with you. And there are times where things, have been challenging, haven't gone exactly the way I might have wanted them. Would you say that in the building of your brand, which as I said, it looks amazing and it's brilliant.
Thank you.
And obviously if you're looking at it from the outside, you just see all the glitz and glamour and you think it's all well and good. Have you guys had or faced any challenges? Perhaps you can talk us through some of the things that you might have faced and how you perhaps, problem solved your way through it.
Yes, I mean there's loads.
Yes.
There's loads, but
pick a few, not all of them.
I know. But it's all about the mindset and how you approach it.
Absolutely.
So which one should I pick? Right. As you would know, when you're starting out, things can be very quiet. You're trying to get people to understand what you're about.
Yes.
And why you're passionate about what you're doing and what it means to, to the community and what problems you're trying to solve or be part of the solution, pretty much.
Yeah.
That can be very difficult. So those times are very quiet.
Okay.
So the question was, that's why I personally as well, from the experience of not just being ill, but also as a young person when I was in Zambia, the things I was able to overcome, they came, to
Handy.
fruition. Exactly. Because this was a whole new experience.
Absolutely.
When you're trying to make sales and things are quiet, what do? You can't just give up because nothing is happening.
Nope.
You have to keep
Find
having
another
conversations,
way.
right?
Yes.
Keep having conversation and just being persistent.
Yeah.
And just sticking in it. Once you're consistent and you're just at it, I don't know what it is, but it's almost like
something comes.
Yeah, it's almost like a ritual that everybody has to go through to understand that before you get the finally
moment.
This is amazing,
Keep pedaling. Do you know
exactly.
It's so beautiful that you're saying when you're saying there was a man here in that same chair about a week ago called Golden who owns marinas, and he said the same thing that you've said. He says, when things get tough, paddle a bit harder. And there's a statement that he said, I've just forgotten it. He said, where there's hard work, like just it gets rewarded one way or another. There's a way that he put it which is better than what I'm saying. It's similar to what you've said here, right? Like,
because
where there's hard work, there's glory, something like that. Yeah,
because it's almost like if you're working hard, right?
Yeah,
and you're doing your very best, just doing things right.
Yeah.
Eventually, when something happens, some people call it luck. Yeah. But really,
is it luck?
Is it really luck?
Right.
And recently, I can't remember who said it. The quote, I'm paraphrasing this, but they say that luck is by design.
Yes.
Meaning it's not just like it's just happened out of the blue, but like
Nope.
if you look back at the experiences you've gone through and the environment and circumstances,
Yeah.
everything just happened to fall in place and then you happen to be there.
Absolutely.
Now, when you find opportunities or find yourself in a position of opportunities, right? You have to be ready.
There you go. I have said that again.
Yeah. You just have to be
Yes,
ready. And
absolutely.
just because it's quiet doesn't mean it cannot happen. Now, don't get me wrong. There are certain things you then have to see why are things not working. Then you learn from that and you adapt.
Yes, constantly growing and yes.
Yeah. And before we move on, the very first short film we made at Freshrb is called Taylor's Shadow. So
I saw that one.
Yeah, we've now put it on YouTube. It used to be on Amazon Prime.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And we made it pretty much
shoestring.
Exactly, with the shoestring.
Yes.
Everybody
Talk about it.
hand on deck,
Yeah.
That was so special because
That's brilliant.
we then did a screening.
Yes.
Right. And it was sold out.
Oh, wow.
Full capacity at a community cinema in North Manchester, in Moston. Now it's part of Charlestown. And that was moving because that was the very first project that we did that we were trying to show people what we're about.
Wow.
And so Taylor's Shadow, basically, just to give an idea, you can check it, people can check it out on our YouTube channel, Silent Elephant Project.
Yeah.
It's basically about, a young woman who's facing, miscarriage.
Oh,
and that's what it's about. So now the question is, what's the impact of the people around her, and what does it all mean? What does it all entail?
Wow.
I'm not going to give it away, but that's what this was about. So it's, it's when you have a passion for something and it means so much, passion is going to see you through the hard times, the quiet times. It gives you the reason to keep on going. Passion becomes your fuel. You just have to use it as your fuel.
It does. And it rings off in the voice. There's something that you asked me earlier when we were having a chat, and you were like, how has it been guest acquisition, right? Because it's a tough thing, to do. And
I know what it's like because I do podcasts as well.
Right.
Yeah.
The majority of people I speak to, I don't know them from Adam. They come here, we speak to each other, we get to know each other. So I reach out to them. And one of the things that's really helped me in terms of acquiring guests, they can hear the passion in my voice. So when I'm telling them about it and I'm describing, sometimes I don't even realize that I'm being passionate, but I'm just talking about it the way I feel about it. You can't feint that. You can't fake it. It's either there or it's not. Do you get what I mean?
Absolutely. And the thing is, when you're authentic and true to yourself, that goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Because think about it. Why would I buy something specific? Maybe even if it doesn't have to be expensive. Why would I purchase something from somebody, or and it should mean something for me?
Yeah.
Chances are it's because of the story they're telling me.
Absolutely.
And in addition to that, it could be their story as well.
Yes.
Specifically, how they came about.
Yeah.
So Absolutely. Then you buy into that.
Then you want to see everything that they do.
Exactly. And then
Brother,
you're like, oh, Interesting.
I want to see more. Do you know what you've just said right there, Kondwani? That's why I do this program, show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. Because for me, the people that I've gone to see whatever else that they do is I've heard their story has interested me and it's made me curious to see more. So that person actually doesn't have to sell me on anything. They don't have to tell me this is what they make. Because I've heard their story, because I've heard of their tenacity, because I love their vision, I want to support them and I'll go. And this is what I say even to my guests before they come on. I say, come, be honest, be authentic, and whatever is presented to the viewers and to the guests, they will take it based on what you've presented. It's not necessarily based on, I could ask you questions here and there and try and drive the conversation somewhere, but it will all be based on what you're giving to the people. And what Let Inspiration Let Inspiration take over as a platform. It's a platform to really highlight brands, to highlight people, who they are, why they do what they do. And as you've said, Kondwani, what that then does is it gets people curious to learn even more about you, to learn what you do, and for them to actually support more of what you actually do.
Yeah, and you know what? I always say this, but it's about being of service.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what you've created here, for me, I find it very inspirational as well.
Thank you, bro.
It's lit.
It's lit.
No, it's lit, and I would say keep on doing it because
thank you. Yeah,
you're serving. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and for me to be here, to be able to make it today,
yes,
despite my brain fog a little bit, and being able to hold this conversation, surprisingly, it's also inspiration to myself because
absolutely,
it's something I'm learning from.
Yes,
and you've given me an opportunity to share with your audience as well, like what I'm about and what life really can look like when you face certain things.
Yes.
And it's all about learning from each other.
Yes.
Do you know, like I'll have conversations with people when they come through on our podcast, or the people I just meet generally.
Yeah.
And because I have ME, so we have a series running as well on our podcast. It's all about ME. I'm always learning something from those people as well, because there's always something to learn
new.
From somebody.
That's why I love doing this, bro. I am taking gems and I'm learning, brother. I'm a student in this chair. Yeah.
So yeah,
absolutely love it.
And keep on doing it.
Thank you so much, Conor. I know you've traveled from a while. It's Manchester, but you've had to travel. And not only did this man
all the way to Dewsbury,
right? Not only did this man come, they know Dewsbury is absolutely fine. That's where the studio is at. It's all good. He came with his family, his beautiful family, right? His son. Gorgeous boy, just as handsome as the dad, with the wife. And it's like, I was so gassed by what I was telling Kondwani, because I haven't had a Saturday in a while, and this is my first Saturday. Kondwani kindly agreed to come on the podcast, and say kindly because this man's busy, right? And just finding time is tough. So I'm so thankful, and I'm saying to him, I actually don't take it for granted. I think it's God's grace that he even came, and it happens to be on the Saturday that I've actually had off. So it's like, man, I'm in awe, right? I think you guys can tell by the energy. I'm so glad to receive him, because obviously my wife and I, we've got 2 children as well. Like as I've spoken about on this podcast several times, I've got a little girl and I've got a boy, a newborn. So them coming with their little boy, couple of months old, and it's just a wonderful thing to be around. And the reason why is, we grew up together, went to similar college. I knew Kondwani from when he was young. He knows me from when I was young as well. Seeing my transition, I would like to think, and seeing the growth in him helps me to even see the growth in me. And to be honest with you, it's a little bit overwhelming. It just makes my heart fonder, because it's like a preview of just everything. And then also, university, we ended up living at a similar accommodation.
Yes, when we're Leeds.
When I went to university as well. And then there's that aspect of it. And just generally to say as well, I might have said it earlier about, brother, I just love your story, right? Your story, Kondwani, is why I do this, right? Similar to your story, to say, in spite of everything that you've been through, you've got this fight, this zeal, this tenacity to carry on, this just thing that encourages me to keep pushing, to want to be better. But not only that, as you said, service was one of the things that I actually wrote out in my notes when we started. I showed you our vision board with my wife, and I told her, I was like, you know what, bro, I want to be of service. I want to create the kind of content that gives back to people, that enriches people, that feeds them, right? It would have been easy for me to just make whatever and all this and for clicks and views. And I've said my strategy hasn't been to have a huge focus on numbers or things like that. My strategy has been, quality content and to create something that gives back in a way.
No, you're right, because you talk about giving back.
Yes,
and it's a big thing, and obviously it's something again. One has to be authentic. You don't have to force it or anything else.
No,
we intentionally, run the business as it is because it's actually serving the beneficiaries are there.
Absolutely,
the beneficiaries are showing, because at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is make sure somebody with long-term life-limiting health condition is able to be creative,
absolutely,
be able to work. Just that alone, because I knew I couldn't work the normal way because I was no longer, as I would say, a normal person. Being able to do all those things. I mean,
whatever normal football, is, I used to be right?
Active. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me to go through a transition where I used to struggle to walk 50 meters,
brother.
But now I can go just beyond that. But it's all about managing myself.
Yes.
Those moments and being able to now, be in the position where I can do my bit to empower and create an avenue for other people to be able to work.
Absolutely.
Being able to be creative.
Absolutely.
And being of value.
Absolutely. And it's encouraging souls as well. Do you know all those people that are going to be, that are watching your videos? It's encouragement, bro. So what you do is inspiring, just even learning your story and hearing. So it's like the content that you're providing does it. The work that you're providing for people does it. And then also just the idea, right, of what you do. Me just hearing the fact that you're doing what you're doing, bro, it encourages me. And that's one of the words, I think, as we're talking through your story, that's the word that's really radiating out, like encouragement, tenacity and go get a zeal, keep going, keep fighting, give back. And all these things are just positive, which is absolutely brilliant,
And like,
yeah.
There's different ways to go about it, and everybody obviously is different in their own right. But you have to understand what you're about.
Yes.
You have to take your own pace.
Absolutely.
Because I can't do so many things, quickly or a lot in one go. I have to slow things down.
Yes.
And then manage myself. It's the same thing as well with the business, my role and everything else. It's all about, making sure it doesn't impede my well-being.
Absolutely.
And my health. So again, within the team, we champion one another to make sure we are in the right space and we're there for each other as well. Because what's the point if the culture within the team does not, show in the work that you do?
Yeah. And you know why that's so poignant, the point that you've made there? A lot of companies and businesses don't have that mentality. It's business first, business as usual. They don't mind if they work you ragged. They don't really consider your mindset. So the fact that you have that in your DNA is absolutely brilliant. And as I said, as I build this, like LiT, as I build it, as I go, that's the very culture that I want as well, to actually consider people as people, not to look at people, as machines and that sort of thing. And as you were speaking there, I was thinking, bro, you don't even know how right you are. The reason why you're right is the people there in the next room. Do you know how much they need you? You got Christopher, you got coming. These people need you more than the work.
Yeah.
Do you get my point? Yeah.
I mean, like we only have one life to live.
Absolutely.
But one of the things we can do as well is, so whether it's a young person or not, but usually it's young people in it.
Yeah.
When a young person, this is how I see it. When a young person comes to ask me, even if it's my little boy, or my children, whatever, who knows what the future holds. But,
children, is it?
I'm just saying. But you know what I mean? Like,
might have been a review. Go ahead, yeah.
If a young person asks me, what does it mean to be fulfilled in your work, life, whatever it is?
Yes.
For me, it's just, social value. In whatever you do, even if you're designing a product that's nothing to do directly with the social aspect of things.
Yes.
You can find avenues of making it worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Having that social value.
Absolutely.
And that's my take on my experiences.
Okay.
And mindset as well, just being that. And I'm still going. So
yeah.
I guess we're doing something right.
You definitely are doing something right. You're doing something more than right, brother. And it's amazing. I want to bring it back a little bit, right? So creativity has been mentioned, brilliance has been mentioned, thrown around, winning, and you mentioned Taylor's shadow, And I've seen it. It's a brilliant piece of work. What I wanted to ask you is perhaps if you can talk us through the creative process, especially now that you've made it even more interesting when you said it was a shoestring budget, you guys having to put it together. And I know exactly what that means, brother. Shoestring, putting things together as you go and just making it. I absolutely understand it. But for our viewers, right, to have produced that kind of level of quality and level of work, talk us through, for starters, the creative process, right, and the way you managed resources to be able to produce something like that.
Yeah. Obviously that was then, but the principles pretty much still carries on to today.
Okay.
But it's all about the why. You know, understanding the why is always the most important thing, because when you start with the why, then you go with the how.
Yeah.
And then the what, or why, what, then how. It all starts with, you know, what health theme, let's say.
Yes.
Do we feel we should highlight? It could be maybe us seeking it, or we've met somebody.
Okay.
Or somebody's mentioned it. So then you go, right, you go to the drawing board. How should we all go about executing it? We look at, you know, if we've got so many projects going on already, because again, you have to run a business.
Okay.
You know, you then evaluate that. But it's all about assuming you did not have any budget, but the budget is that, you know, you got to get something done.
Yes.
Or if you think about it, time budget.
Yeah.
How can you make sure you are effective and efficient at the same time?
There you go.
So you just go through, you know, from inception, you know, coming up with the script, ideas, all those things. You then find resources. What do you need? You know,
Okay.
You contact. So because we're all about seeing what's out there, making sure the community is involved and everything else, you then, yeah, you know, so if we've got a venue we want to use for the screening, because the screening is an important aspect of the process.
Okay.
So we start from, you know, pre-production, production, post-production, and then the screening or showcase event.
Okay.
Pretty much. That process is very, very important. So you go through all that, but within that, don't get me wrong, there's moments where, you know, you got to do, or you find out that, you know, you need to do something that you're like, right, we can't manage to do this.
Right.
Whether it's too expensive, it's too far, or the specific actor is not there,
So
or
how do we replace
XY is
it,
not
or-
there. So how do
Yeah.
we go about it to make sure we don't impede
Right.
ourselves? We don't impede the business. We don't impede, because we still want to make sure the social value that the business stands for continues to impact the beneficiaries.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's all about just being efficient and effective and not overthinking it. It's not about having X amount of resources or budget that will make something great, but it's the story you're telling.
That's a quotable right there. That's a quotable right there. I always say this in the interview. There's always like, it's not an interview, by the way, it's a podcast. In the podcast,
We're having a conversation.
It's a conversation. There's always a moment. It happened even when I was recording my previous one, where it's maybe once or twice there's something that's gets said, and it's like a quotable moment. I'm like, I'm gonna go back, listen to that, because it's like words to live by. So what you say there is like it's a quotable moment. It's absolutely brilliant.
And obviously, in the grand scheme of things, which is like, you know, how we always make sure that we don't, like I keep saying, impede ourselves, is to show your social value. So you know, you speak to different organizations, people, and the customers, they believe in what you're doing, and you tell them the impact of you buying our services.
Yes,
this is the result. This is what we do.
Yeah.
And, you know, just creating that churn,
Yeah.
it goes a long way, because they see it.
Yeah.
They see it. And when somebody gets it, it's almost like, oh my goodness, there we go.
I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that story. Like that's the sentiment I get. If I was a buyer, I would be like, yeah, you know what? You've spoken to my heart. I want to be a part of it. We don't have the money in the, but we'll find the money and we'll be a part of it. So that's absolutely brilliant, brother. I think I want to ask. I was perusing through your LinkedIn as you do, you know.
Oh, I need to update my LinkedIn. Oh my goodness! You know what?
I gotta do.
Yeah, my LinkedIn is lazy. I think I need to get some tips from you.
Don't even worry about that, brother. Listen, mine's no better as well. It needs updating as well. But I was looking through that, just looking for, you know, as you do, so that the conversation can be brilliant and flowing. And there's a statement, I've highlighted it actually, that you put on there, and we'll go behind it, right? So the statement, I'll just literally read it out. I'm not a very good reader, so bear with me, guys. It says, empowering young people and individuals with life-limiting long-term conditions through storytelling. And storytelling, by the way, is in capital letters. I inspire people through conversations, but my goal is storytelling also. And I've said, like, you know, I know you said you come from a problem-solving background, you love that. I do not myself, I'm more of a creative, and I've said it before, I'm not a technical person. So technical, I don't do too great, but even though I still work harder than the next person, I still do my research and things like that. So I come from a more emotive storytelling kind of background, tagging at people's heartstrings. So that's what I do. Like, even when I'm having this conversation, I'm hoping that a story is being told, giving an idea of your background, giving an idea of the work. So I love the fact that you highlighted storytelling, because personally, I feel like storytelling is so powerful. Visually, you can really tell a story with visuals. And if you do that correctly, you will tag again at people's heartstrings, people's emotions. But not to digress, right? That statement that I read out there, and you said, empowering young people and individuals. Okay, I've seen the individuals, because I was focusing, I think, before mainly on the young people. I was like, why only young people? But then now that I've seen the individuals, you can get off the hook. But tell us a little bit behind that statement, perhaps. You know,
it's just me being me. So obviously the LinkedIn one, I think there should be a picture that I featured on the time I wrote that. We were at the school, secondary school, with year 10s.
Yes.
Making a short film called Why Me?
Right.
So it's about ME, the illness which I suffer from.
Okay.
Which I'm living with, rather.
Yeah.
And seeing them being so engaged. Right. From the whole process, from pre-production.
Yes.
Production. They loved it. They loved being part of it. But they, we collaborated, so they came up with the script.
Oh wow!
These young people, yes.
Oh wow, brilliant.
And that was at a school called Academy North Manchester. For me to experience that, to see it come to life,
yes,
to see them being so excited, to see them learn,
yes,
right, about something that I would like to say it's boring. Imagine somebody turns up to you and says, "Oh, do you know about this?" Like, you have to, you'd be like, "Oh, okay. Why should I care?"
Exactly.
But these young people knew that.
Yeah.
At the end of it all, they're gonna create a short film.
Wow.
Right. They were so engaged. They did the research. They asked questions. They learned more. We brought in other people who live with ME as well to share their life experiences. So they got inspirations from people's life experiences lived experiences of their health condition.
Yes.
And then guess what?
Yeah.
Make it into a fictional story.
Brilliant.
And that's what it's about.
Oh,
Make it into a fictional story to then come out of that. So being in the background and in the process, but always observing.
Yes.
And seeing all that.
Yeah.
I found it so powerful. And that's around the same time I came up with that statement. Funnily enough. I was moved.
Yes.
And when we did the screening in the school had to see them.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
That is brilliant. Yeah.
Young people loved it. And the years below that,
yes,
below them, the year 9s, they came through to watch it.
Wow.
And they were interested. They were like, we want to be involved in this. Now, as we all know, we're living through the pandemic.
Yes.
So at the time,
that.
when just before the pandemic hit, we went back to the school and we're working on another health condition.
Okay.
But then obviously they finished the script, but we never went into production. So we hope one day we can go into that.
Absolutely.
But it's just when you see young people being interested and wanting to do something about it. There's a young person I remember. She asked a question, which was, "What is Parliament doing about people living with such conditions, and what how can she go about,
Yeah.
to let them know, just the whole process thing.
Yes.
And that was powerful because there's a young person who, I don't know what career she's going to end up to, but for her to think like that, it gets you thinking of what sparks you can ignite in somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in young people, that is really important. Something that you will do will seed something in them for the future, for whoever they're going to become and that sort of thing. And those are like really, really important. That's a really important stage for that to be done.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I'm going to mention as well, like, similar story, but different a little bit. When we were making, it's all about short films, it seems. The examples I'm
this
giving,
is what you do.
Exactly.
This is what you do, yeah.
In Their Eyes, which is our latest short film. Well, right now we're in production of another one, but this is in their eyes. Okay. We're working with university students, and they came in on the summer internship. And one of the students enjoyed spending, working with us, and she stayed in touch.
Okay.
So when she graduated, she's very creative.
Brilliant.
Yeah, when she graduated, she still stayed in touch, and fast forward, we had opportunities.
Okay.
And now she's in the team and she
working with you guys. That is brilliant. Inspiration took over.
Yeah, exactly. So
yes,
she came through.
Yeah.
And she liked what we did.
Okay.
What we're about, what we stand for. And then she stayed in touch, right? Because she wanted to see a way of she can continue being part of, working with us. And now she's part of the team. And she's a core member of the team because, she's so creative.
Yes. Brings that fire, yeah?
It brings that fire.
Brother, yeah.
I might as well say the name, and she might kill me for this, but her name is Sarah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. Sarah, well done.
Yeah.
Well done, girl.
Yeah. All the things you see on social media, the designs, that's her.
I've seen even your the way your podcast is set up and the creativity. I was like, brother, couldn't put us to shame. We'll get there, guys. Don't worry, we'll get there. No, that's absolutely brilliant, bro. And that's what I love to hear. The work having that kind of impact. This is what you want.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And for me, that's my goal, to eventually get to that, as you said, almost not everything, but most of what you're doing, to be able to give back, to be able to create opportunities, to create work for creatives. And the people that will come, to LiT, to work for us and that sort of thing will be, I want you to be open-minded. I want you to think outside the box and to have that level of creativity. You will be loud here, different from anywhere else you've worked, because for myself, I'm not frigid, right? I always think outside the box, and I always think the thing that you said, how can I get this thing done to the certain extent, to a level that I need to, perhaps even though I don't have exactly the resources that are required. So in a way, I guess that's the problem solving side of things. Even though I said I don't fancy myself to be a problem solver, I've actually been solving problems,
I mean, you'd be amazed how much collaboration you can have with people. Absolutely. Partnerships, and don't get me wrong, money is the language of transaction.
Yes.
It's a exchange of goods, and money is important.
Yes.
But I think what I'm trying to say is, one cannot get lost in thinking it's all about money.
You shouldn't stop with it. It shouldn't be your starting point.
Because when you go through the quiet times, and if money was your fuel, don't get me wrong, people work different mindset-wise. But for me, I found passion helped me through.
Yeah.
Because whatever came through after, it was, fine. I already know what it's meant to do. And I think it's always important to be in that position where
absolutely
whatever support you get from people, whatever resources you access, you know why it's going to be important to utilize those.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, Kondwa, brother, you've come here. You're like a vicar. You're preaching. Today, inspiration, guys, has taken over us, and there are gems. There's fire being given. I actually feel it. I'm sitting in this chair and I feel it. I prayed to the gods before we started here to bless us and to grace us, and that has happened. It's been invited. They say where two or more are gathered, he is there. He is here today. Our Father God up above, and also inspiration's also here today as it has taken over. But I wanted to bring it back now, Mr. Kondwa. You know, all the wonderful things that you've said about work, I know it's not just that because I've already seen, as we mentioned earlier, you've come with your handsome son, your gorgeous wife, you're a family man, right? Just like myself, I'm a family man. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit, that side of things to say, bro, what's family life like? Especially, perhaps from a perspective of, for starters, as a husband, how have you found life as a husband, and perhaps you could tell us then life as a father, as I always say, as it ties in with work. It's a bit of a long-winded question, that's how I ask my questions, sorry about that, but okay. How have you found that?
Right, just take me step by step, because
I'm
feeling a bit exhausted, but yeah.
No, so sorry about that. The first one is husband. Tell us about that.
It's been great. I've come to learn a lot about myself.
Okay.
I've discovered a side of me that I never knew even existed.
Wow.
Yeah. When you find your life partner, who's your best friend, good Lord, does life become
don't I know it,
easier in the context of my own life, if you know what I mean.
Support.
That's exactly.
The word. Yeah.
Support, somebody who understands.
Yes.
Kavinga was there from the hard times when I was unwell.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Brother.
So that transformed me a lot, and she gives me every reason to keep on going.
Absolutely. I mean that just needs a moment to simmer a little bit, because brother, that's an impact. And then in terms of you guys and our parents, as well, as I've said, I've seen your son. I'm a parent myself of 2 newborn.
I don't know how you're doing it, but
I know, right? You're telling me that. I will try. I think the wife, will have something to say about it. I think the thing that you said about Kabinga, my wife is just absolutely amazing. Like, it's a lot, right? And as I've said, for myself, I'll be honest and say I have been busy over the past couple of months, and sometimes it's not that I don't want to be there, but it'll be like doing this and doing that. So she will cover the majority of it. Of course, I do my part, and be there when I come back from work, and I do my bits, and I'll take my daughter to school and things like that. But I think it's nowhere near what she does. Right? Yeah.
Being a husband
yes.
has improved my communication.
Has it?
Yes.
Mine still needs work.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect.
Yes,
just yet. I don't think I ever will anyway.
Yeah,
but it's improved.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because my goodness me, before I was just, when you're just in your own world, you're just the
boys,
way you were.
We're men.
You're just like, all right, it's like this, it's this, and you don't care about a lot of, not like you don't care, but you just brush off a lot of things.
Technical, we're more technical minded.
They're not directly impacting you anyway. You're just getting straight to the point.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot, which has been a beautiful transition as well.
Yes.
But I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm still transitioning. She still has to coach me and teach me, like, listen, brother, look, you're speaking to, she's a girl, you have to be gentle. Now, I'm learning to be the more emotional side of things and to be more understanding. And because, as you've said, as men, I think there's an aspect where we come from logic. For me, it's technical. If we're supposed to do this time, and I've said let's get ready by 9, we better get ready by 9 and blah. If we don't get ready by, what's going on? We agreed we're gonna, so all those things, as you've said, is having this empathy and having this patience, a certain level of patience has to play a role in being a father, in being a parent. And that's something that I never understood. Even though I was a child, and I was, as I say, certain times would be giving grief to my own parents and my mum, but I never understood from a point of view to say that it's not just about the technical aspect of things. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. No, there are some elements that come in that you have to factor in, some circumstances, that might be outside.
Yeah, and I think because the second question you asked was being a father, isn't it? Being
a father, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just been a whole game changer overall, because it's allowed me to be more accountable.
Okay.
It's no longer just about what I want or what I do. Like the decisions I make is gonna impact not just my wife, but then the outcome as well, the child.
Yeah.
So then you have to think this dynamic.
Yes.
It's beautiful, But then one of the things I've come to learn is that, you can go without sleep for a bit.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about that, as if I didn't know.
Oh, my goodness. The ups and downs. You're like, why is he awake now?
I know. What is going on?
And then you got to see the day through. Even if you're not working, you still got to be awake.
Yes.
But then the joys then come through in the fact that you think back of all those days and you're like, oh, how did I cope?
Yes.
And then you realize the love you have now, that you're experiencing now,
supersedes everything else.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's allowed me to be streamlined, like, commitments to a lot of things. Before, I used to be committed to quite a few things, like maybe doing some other things. But now it's,
you're kind of
I just say no to people, like, without even the needing to justify
thinking about it.
Because
just no. I'll tell you this, that's what I was talking about. It's like, at work, as much as I love work, they were asking me like yesterday, oh, can you come in because we need so I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. No, we'll give you some money. I was like, it's not about the money. And they're like, you want me to come in yesterday and today? I was like, man, no.
when we're driving, driving up, down, but we were driving here this morning. I had an idea of what time we should set off.
Okay,
it was coming great, but then again,
you've got a kid. Circumstances, they always happen.
And they're just in their own world, and it's just so unpredictable. But then things like that, I've come to learn not to be too obsessed with how I plan things. I have to be very flexible.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, like, it's fine.
They're your
this
people.
Time will pass, and then it'll be another phase.
Yes.
And so I now understand what my parents
went through. Bruh, you remember when I was telling you, I was saying it's just a pity that I never got to apologize to my mom. There was a way. Let me not say that, because I did. There was one point,
you found the courage to say.
I went and I said, Mom, you know what? I actually wrote it in a letter, in a Mother's Day letter. I said to her, like, look, I know I haven't always been the best son, and I haven't always been the easiest, but I appreciate everything that you do for us and you do for me, and I am so thankful. I love you. And it made her shed a tear. I didn't know it would have that kind of impact on her, but at least she knew, because I told her there were certain times, certain things that happened later on in life as I was learning certain things, where there are things that my mum would say that would really come back as she said them. It was almost as if she was a prophetess, and I was like, how did this woman know? She said this and it happened how she said it. After that, I was like, because sometimes we come to this country and you think, oh, because I know this and I know tech, and you even think that you're better than your parents, like you know more. And then I realized, like, no, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to love this woman and I'm going to respect her. And I don't care what my preconceived notions are or whatever. Like, she knows better. She's God here on earth. And after that, my life actually became smoother and better. Things started to work out. That's the time when I went to university. You remember when I saw you at uni? That's the time I just started everything almost seemed to go a different direction the minute I decided that I was going to just love, respect, and follow my mom's word and take it as gospel, regardless of whether I agree or don't agree. That's why they say, like, when you eat the meat, choose the meat, remove the bones. So it's not, because she has said that wrong, then I'm not going to listen to everything. I was like, no, this woman has a point. And then just understanding that, I would say, actually changed my life. It gave me a better perspective. It just helped me in terms of, decision making, how to approach life, how to discern certain things and things like that. I'm so thankful that wherever that came from to do that, I'm thankful that it happened, because a year after that, we lost her. A year after we lost her, I was like, I am just glad that my heart, and this is inspiration taking off, by the way, because I didn't even know that I'd be opening up about this, but I'm just thankful that my heart, even though she was gone, I was like, yes, she got to know that I was appreciative. And, she got to see me go to university to say that, Mom, you shouldn't have a reason to think that you didn't do enough. You did. And the fact that you believed, this woman believed in me even beyond how I believed in myself. Like, she would see certain things about myself that I was like, how is it? Why does she see this? I mean, where is it? But she just saw it, and she had so much belief. And it was just like, wow. When I see it now, all makes sense. It adds up. I see where I am as a man, and I see having a family and everything that's coming together. And this is a person that saw it before it even became. And I was like, wow, you know what? woman, you were a prophet. You were a prophetess.
Yeah.
That's something to be grateful for.
No, absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. And you know what? It's because we're now on that journey as well, i.e. being parents. It's something that we're also gonna go through and witness.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna learn as well. And I was patient, right? Before. I'm not saying I'm not patient, but I thought that was it about my patience. But boy, am I more patient now.
There you go. You have to be.
I've had to find that extra, that extra level kind of thing.
Yes, especially being parents to boys. Bro, you need the extra patience.
Because he was born, so he's a pandemic baby.
Oh, right,
because of the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
That's why he was born during that time.
Yes.
And the whole experience that we had to go through was very unique.
Absolutely.
Because, the challenges that brought. And I was very fortunate because the time when he was about to be born, they had allowed to have an extra person.
Oh, wow.
Whereas before, during
the
middle of the pandemic,
it wasn't just
the woman, that's it.
Oh, wow.
So I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
That, I was able to have that privilege. So again, reflecting back, it's that's something I've learned, and a lot I've learned from that. Maybe we can go for another hour just unpicking the whole process.
We'll come back to that one.
That time. So it's we're now walking the journey as being parents, and that's a whole different learning.
Absolutely.
Because we're also being individuals within that journey as well.
Yes.
So you're not just being, you're also being Isaac speaks.
Yeah.
And you're also being
Isaac dad.
That's it, Isaac dad.
Isaac husband. That's different as well. Being a good dad doesn't equal to being a good husband.
And then you're going to be other things as well that you find interesting, vocations, whatever it is, line of interest. But life is interesting.
Yes. Would you say life is good?
Yes.
I was going to ask you this: do you know how does it feel when you come back home? You see, there's a home. I'm sure I haven't yet been to your house, but just Christopher there, Anka Binga. I don't know, she done some food, and how does that feel, bro? I know how it feels. That's why I'm asking you this question.
It's a good feeling. Life's good.
Yeah.
LG.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling, but you know what? It's difficult to put into words, but just say it's great. The reason I'm saying that is, given again, I'm going back to my personal experience living with a health condition. I'm always in a state of exhaustion and fatigue. And so when I go to the office and then come back, if they happen to be home, I'll be so exhausted, but then I see him running because now he can talk.
Yes.
And walk. So he'll be coming towards me and he'll be like, Dada. Boy, does that just like, I forget everything. In that moment, I forget I'm exhausted, I'm shattered. And it just brings so much joy, the euphoria. Whatever endorphins are being released,
something is happening.
So just that gets me going.
Yeah.
It gives you that strength to keep on going, no matter how exhausted you are. It's beautiful. And because I get to pick him up from nursery as well.
Oh, beautiful.
Brilliant. So that's like, I'll just go stand on the door. He doesn't see me, and then he turns around, and then he goes, "Yeah, Dad," and that's it. Again, it's almost like a switch.
Yeah,
and then obviously,
and everything it all makes sense why you do it. I'll tell you when it happens for me. Sometimes we'll just be sat as a family, and maybe we're watching telly, and it's just quiet. Nothing's going on. We're not talking, and my daughter will just be like, "Dad," I was like, "Yeah, what's up? What's up, Tao?" My daughter's called Taonga. I love you. Like, what? Randomly from nowhere, there's no context to this. It didn't lead from anywhere. Nobody asked her or told her. She would just say it she just felt it in that moment, and she just says it. I was like, this kid, man, whose kid is this? Whose men's is it? Where did she come? And she would just say, so you know what that tells me is she means it, and she feels it. And I was like, where is this coming from? And she would just say that, and I'm just like, fam, this kid is 3 years old. And somehow, whatever I'm doing, and sometimes I'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing right, but there's something that's being done right for. It's a child. They've got no incentive to be saying that. But that means for them to have said it, to me anyway, that's what it tells me. Maybe somebody might think differently of it. But that tells me to be like, she means it, and she, for whatever reason, she felt it in that moment for her to just say it like that. You know, and it's brilliant. The same thing that you said about endorphins and everything.
Whatever is happening,
my heart,
a good feeling.
Yes, it's a very, very good feeling, you know. Yeah. And even the feeling of just coming back home, seeing my son, even when he's crying, and just having that whole family type of situation, for me, it's for me. I love it. That's the situation where it's like, that's why I do, you know, what I do and that sort of thing. So it's
because there's something I just remembered that we're talking about life, which is, you know, life is already hard.
Absolutely.
Right? But you don't have to complicate it.
No.
So then you simplify it.
Yes.
Keep it simple. That's how I approach my life.
Yeah.
And that's
this how perfect approach.
So most of the things I look at them with a positive outlook. Even when I go through a negative experience or anything else.
Yeah.
I learn from it, but then I put a positive spin to it and just making sure I enjoy my life.
Brilliant.
Because it's easy to get stuck and just seeing everything so negative.
Yes.
And that's going to be overwhelming you.
Yes.
So knowing that it's going to overwhelm you and then keep you down there, like, you still have a life to live. So you just, see the good side.
Yeah.
Even if the environment you're in, the good side is just one aspect of 100, hang on to that one, because that one is going to see you a lot further down the road on your life's journey.
Yeah. Brother, such a great, such an insightful conversation. It's been fun. It's been emotional. It's been a roller coaster. It's been up. It's been down. It's got me to open up in a way that I didn't expect that I would. And I think that's what we call inspiration taking over. And that's why I do this. That's why, as I say to yourself, as much as I've got, guys, I have notes here and we've hardly touched some of them because I just love the conversation to flow. And this is why I do this, right? There are people that are technical out there. You will find plenty of content here. I'm more about the heart and I'm more about the core of this story, right? Just the brilliance and I'm more about the sharing of ideas. And I think we've done that. We've achieved that. Inspiration has taken over today, Brother Kondwa. In case I hadn't said it before, I'm so grateful. I am so thankful for you coming here, not only coming here, but giving a little piece of yourself, because I feel that you've done that today. Like, you've poured your heart into this conversation, and thank you so much. And I wanted to say this again in case I haven't said it. I am so proud of the man that you have become, seeing the work that you're doing and seeing you as a father and as a husband. It's something that makes me feel good. It's something that makes me so proud, brother. You know, continue to do what you're doing and continue to be the person that you are. Even the heart that you have for service, brother, that's brilliant. So I'm your guy in terms of wherever I could add my talents to yourself in whatever small way that I can. You've got me. You know where I'm at. Let me know. And I've said there'll come a point where I am certain of it to say we will collaborate in a way that works in a meaningful way. Of course, as I said, I'm not about, we don't have to do anything. But when it calls for it and the time is right, we will do the work and we'll make it work for the benefits of the people that will be serving and the people that are listening to or that will be taking or making use of whatever it is that we have to give and that sort of thing. And as I've said, when the moment calls for it, we'll go for it as it's called for it. But just to throw this to yourself, brother, we have come to the end, of our beautiful conversation. Is there anything that you'd like to add, in closing, in case perhaps there's anything that I might have missed or anything that you just want to add? I
think for me, it's the fact that, I'm very grateful and humbled that, I'm even sat here speaking to you. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Yeah. And for the audience out there, just keep listening to different people that are on this platform. And
absolutely.
There's always something to learn from everybody.
Absolutely.
And,
I agree.
The way you're taking it and the way you've done it, the way you've set it up, I'm loving it.
Thank you, brother.
Like I said, we can go on the whole day.
Absolutely.
We could ask for another 5 hours.
5-hour conversation.
Themes and stuff we've talked about already. But you know what? Just from today,
yes,
it's been very therapeutic for me. And I'm
for
very
me
grateful.
too, brother.
I'm very grateful. I'm really, really grateful. And my drive back to Manchester is going to be full of reflection and
brilliant. And there's work to be done, editing and putting. I'm really good. I'm looking forward to putting this together.
I'll speak to your editor self as you're editing this.
Yes,
Isaac speaks.
Isaac speaks.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Listen, I will definitely enjoy it. Thank you so much. I was gonna say, what have you got? What have you guys got coming up? Or in terms of, you know, where can people go for the work that you're doing?
So the website, obviously, you're gonna share it, but I'll just say it as well. It's Freshrb, one word. So freshrb.com.
Yes.
And we've got different projects we're working on. We've done different things. You can explore as well. You can check out our content as well on YouTube at the moment.
Okay.
You know, at the moment as well, in-house, we are basically trying out to develop a game. That's, you know, just
that's an
simple,
exclusive, by the way.
Just,
It hasn't gone anyway yet.
Nothing too complex, but you know, it's just we're learning as well. You know, just a simple game, but raising awareness of men's health and health and just like health in general. But we're just starting out, like, you know, men's health aspect, because, you know, do we talk about things? It's only recent that, you know,
that it started, but it's not commonplace.
You know, and we're already working on another community project, which is, you know, giving people's voices on their experiences of healthcare services. So there's different projects you're gonna see there. You know, NEMCO, and which stands for Neighborhood Media Connects Health. Okay. And then I talked about Silent Telephone Project, and then, you know, everyday people talking health, which is part of again another project that's happening that's in-house pretty much. But different pieces of things. So hopefully check out our socials as well, because I know this is the modern world we're in. So, you know, it's just
answering my questions for me. I was gonna say, what are your socials? Or have you mentioned them yet? Your socials. So Instagram, Facebook, and
and I mean there could be others. So I'll just say it's the same search pretty much. So you just search for, again, one word. So Freshrb, CIC. We should be able to pop up. If not, go through the website and then you can access us again.
Absolutely. YouTube as well. They're on there, guys. Please check the work out. I think from Kondwani's story, I don't think I have to like prompt you to go do it, but that's not what we do on the show. But yeah, if you've loved the conversation, which I'm sure you will have, go check out the work. And as you've said, Kondwani, I'm going to add the links in the description as well.
And I'm more than happy to be contacted as well. So so through the website, there's a contact page so people can access.
Brilliant. And even if you feel you can add to the work or collaboration and sort of thing, absolutely reach out, or reach out to me as well if you want, if that's easier, and I'll pass on you know, the message and that sort of thing. But once again, guys, another brilliant episode of Let Inspiration Take Over. It really did take over today. And yeah, I'm just so humbled, so thankful, so overwhelmed with this conversation that we've had. But just to finish it off, just to say, make sure you like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. We're growing slowly, organically, you know, continuing to put out this brilliant content. There's more to come, guys. I'm going to continue doing so. So for me, when you do that, that's the currency that I've got for now. So just make sure that you do that. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Again, follow on Spotify as well. But until next time, guys, thank you so much. And catch you in the next one. Cheers.
Thank you.